Hey, what's up, Silas here. This is going to be, I think, part of a new series. I'm trying to tie in a lot of the different things that I'm doing together into like one channel, or at least focus them on and put them onto one website in one location. One of the projects that I had going, some of you may have seen some of the videos for that, was the Trump Train to Magaland thing, which was just me kind of being interested in following the election of Donald J. Trump. Running from when he was running for the election, when he got in the actual presidential election, going up to the actual inauguration and everything, and following after. I've been going to different protests and different kind of events and following certain news stories in the United States of America. And for those that don't know, I've lived in the United States of America for almost 20 years on and off. It was like 17 years and on and off for the last couple of years. I'm trying to become a citizen there eventually, possibly. I'm going to try to register a business and start working there. So actually immigrate in the legal way and everything. I just had this talking about that. There's this one strange situation that just occurred there. For the people that might not know, there was somebody called what was her name? Kate Steinle. Steinle. I'm sorry if I'm saying that name wrong. It was she was, I think, a 25-year-old. She was somewhere in San Francisco. I actually remember walking on that pier she was on, taking a walk around San Francisco. Really scenic place. And apparently there was an illegal immigrant, not an undocumented migrant, an illegal immigrant who was in the United States of America illegally, and he had been arrested 5 times due to other issues. And I think right before that last fifth arrest, he had been let out. ICE, which is Immigration Central Enforcement, something like that. I should know the name of that, but it's the agency that actually handles in the immigration that's supposed to get people who are illegal immigrants. And what they do sometimes is somewhere arrests somebody. It pings up that this person is an illegal. Then the ICE agents sometimes say, "Can you hold this person in your cells until we come and get that person?" And in this case, they did not get the person. The person was released. San Francisco is supposedly one of those sanctuary cities, and the sanctuary city is, from what I've understood, the sanctuary city in states, they're just saying that we are selecting not to enforce this federal law. They're saying that the federal agency of ICE is supposed to be responsible with deporting and detaining illegal migrants. So if they get somebody for, let's say, walking across the street, jaywalking is actually a thing, I guess. I think jaywalking is a misdemeanor. But anyway, if they get you for something like drunk driving and they find out you're in the country illegally, that goes to a federal situation. It's kind of like you can commit crimes that are state, you can commit city crimes. So there's different levels of police and different kind of responsibilities for that. So you can commit a federal crime, and immigration is a federal crime because you're coming into the nation's border, and that's something the entire federal government is supposed to handle. So they say, we're not going to bother with that aspect of it. If this person has murdered somebody, then yes, we might hold them and put them in jail for the murder, but we're not going to hold them for their immigration status. So that's why I think that's what sanctuary cities kind of are. Now, I kind of disagree with that because it's getting to the situation. I prefer consistency. Why don't they consistently enforce the laws across the board? But this is the nature of the state. The state in general, I think no matter what state you're in, even not just the United States of America, if you're in a state in this day and time, you're constantly breaking laws, and the state chooses what they enforce. So on one aspect, I do understand if the states are like, there's threats to not fund these states with federal funding if they don't actually use that. But then at the same point, there's other federal laws that they don't do. The federal government, there's other state laws that the federal government lets pass. This kind of happens. They don't enforce all laws. So some of the people who are saying like, "Oh, this is horrible," like they're not enforcing these laws, so we shouldn't fund them, or shouldn't they? Why shouldn't they enforce these other federal laws? But that's kind of what happens. That's the nature of the state, selective enforcement of things, which is part of the reason I'm more towards anarcho-capitalism, and it's a theory. I do understand. It's a destination. It's not something that's going to occur right now, but it's a destination. And right now, I would at least love to have the rule of law, and I think that's what America was founded on. Great country in that way, as a republic, rule of law, be as equal across the board, equally enforced on these laws as possible. But anyway, back to the story. So this man was released. I'm not going to get his name up right now, but he was an illegal immigrant from south of the border. I don't know if he's a Mexican national or something. Or Central American or further down in Latin America. But he was released after ICE agents called San Francisco PD or San Francisco enforcement agents and told them, hold this person. They said no. The guy went out there with a gun. I haven't actually checked the full stories of it, which apologies for doing that, for talking on this. If you want to call me out to say, oh, anything I say in this makes no sense because I haven't read the story, I'm going to go ahead and read some stories and leave some links below to the actual things talking about the case. If you guys want to go on that more, I'll write to make some retractions and whatnot in there too, or some apologies, some changes, if some of the material that I'm doing is completely off base here. But from the understanding that I have, he had a gun, and he was on the pier with that gun, and that gun went off and killed Kate Steinle. Now, this came up during the run-up, during the presidential election, and Donald Trump did mention this a couple of times, and the kids of people who died from illegal immigrants were called, there was this group of angel moms, of mothers who had children who died at the hands of illegal immigrants, and Kate Steinle's family was one of them. And now there's a situation where the man who did this has been let off. He did not get the murder case. He did not get the murder charge. He's been let off. So whatever it was, I hear maybe the prosecutor took a wrong case on it. Maybe he was trying to prove something that was hard to prove. And that's the thing, innocent until proven guilty. I get that. But now, this is where it comes into the whole situation where I'm saying consistency. Now, this is a situation where it's people on the left politically, liberals, progressives on the left, versus conservatives, people on the right, Republicans, and Democrats on the other side. So Democrats, progressive liberals on the left, Republicans, conservatives, and those kind of people on the right. Okay, so these two groups now. One side has been saying build the wall, illegal immigration is a massive issue, it's a horrible issue. This other side is like, no, illegal immigrants do good things, they help the society, this shouldn't be that big of an issue. So now it comes to this, and people are saying, look, now what's happening in this situation? You have people on the left saying, oh, but I followed the Trayvon Martin thing, like when you were talking about he was innocent, so if he's found innocent, he's supposed to be innocent. Sure, there's people who are saying that, look, there was something wrong with that gun. Somebody's talking about there's something wrong with Sig Sauer, saying that the Sig Sauer gun that actually ended up, the gun that was used in this murder, I guess it's not called a murder, but in the death of Kate Steinle. So they have that kind of situation where they say that gun had some issues. And then somebody literally said this. I saw this in the comment section. Somebody was arguing that, can you prove that this gun literally never misfires? And I said, that's standard. That's standard of assurance. You're setting a standard where you cannot really achieve that standard. Now, at the same point, can I say, can you tell me for certain that an illegal immigrant will never commit a crime? No, you can't. So if you're saying, okay, this gun, it's a gun's problem, the gun should be off the streets, people are saying that gun is illegal, it should never have been on the streets. Then at the same point, that immigrant is illegal, he should have never been in the country. So there's just the lack of consistency when it comes to this. People are saying, okay, look, he's innocent, he's free, you shouldn't complain about this anymore. But then at the same point, when there's cases like the Mike Brown situation, when there's cases like, I think even the Baltimore cops with the Freddie Gray that resulted in massive protests, riots in Baltimore, the Trayvon Martin thing, like I mentioned, George Zimmerman was found innocent. You have this situation, then you have also these accusations that are coming out to sexual indecency, sexual assault, sexual harassment. People are coming out to say Donald Trump needs to step down. They're talking about different people in politics. They're talking about people need to lose their jobs. Yet in some of these cases, it's still just allegations. So, I'm going to end it here. What do you guys think about that? My nephew just showed up. I'm not going to show him on screen. But let me know what you guys think about this Kate Steinle thing. If I'm wrong about anything, like I said, links in the low bar. Until then, talk to you later. Goodbye. Like, share, and subscribe.